As we continue together in Advent, we remain in Isaiah's words in 9, verse 6, about the promise of a Messiah, one who will come, who will be the wonderful counselor, mighty God, and this week we're at everlasting Father. And this phrase, everlasting Father, this title, it's a kingly title. Isaiah's hearers would have known it to mean there's going to be a king whose reign won't end. And they knew what it was like to need that kind of king. Their king was not faithful to the promises that God had given to God's people. Their king was an unfaithful king. There was lack. They were experiencing lack. They were not experiencing care and provision that would come from this kind of everlasting Father as a king. And so this was a word of hope for them, a word of hope to know that God would keep their promises, the promises made to them. And this is also a word that goes forward into Jesus. This is a word that is reheard in Jesus, that Jesus is the fulfillment of God's promise of this kind of king, a king who will care for God's people in a way that has no end. And this way is not the same way as the king of the time that Jesus was born into, the King Herod. This is not the same kind of king that the people of Judah in the book of Isaiah were familiar with. In God's kingdom, the way that Jesus is king is overall, it's bigger than this. And we know what it's like to need this kind of a king. We see the ways that on our margins, there is lack. There are things that need to be responded to. We experience this in our own lives too. Do we have this kind of a king who is providing for us? And so as we are in this Advent season of longing and of waiting for arrival, we wait for this king together, this king who is Jesus.